Well done.
Welcome back to our final segment, and thank you so much for staying with us for this while. You're watching Smart 24 TV. Smart 24 TV is dedicated to business 24 hours, 7 days a week. And on the point, of course, we get to analyze economic policy. Today, in particular, we are looking at the national budget. I'm with Honorable Dennis Onekalet from Kitgum Municipality, and of course, Mr. Mukundane Julius, who is the Executive Director of the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group. Honorable Dennis, we want to know what is in this budget for the citizen. And we are talking about every citizen without discrimination, from doctors to people on the street who are selling bananas. We want to know what is in this budget for them. I'm just taking one example. For example, the education sector has been allocated 1 trillion. And amongst this, we have for 12 universities, and at least 126 billion for UNEB, and then 13.39 billion for the National Council for Higher Education. My question here is, this is a council that came out and said we have expired courses. And in this case, we are still allocating it money to come out and give us the same information. If at all, they don't actually change the way they are doing things. In as far as the education sector, and especially also the health sector, looking at the interns that have been out crying for the government to deploy them, do you think we are going to have a better look at these figures when it comes to the end of the fiscal year 2023-2024?
When the Minister for General Duties, Henry, presented the budget, there was a statement he was supposed to present, the statement of incompleteness, because the budget he presented had increment from the 51 trillion to 52.7 trillion. Now that one, we call it a corrigendum. A corrigendum means there was a mistake that needed to be corrected, and he came to correct them. And when he was correcting those mistakes by presenting some of the items that led to the increments, for example, he indicated some increase in recurrent of about 15.7 trillion from 15 trillion before. There was increment in development from to 6.5 trillion from previously 6.51. It went to 6.52. There was increment in external financing to actually 8.1 from 7.4. Now that corrigendum was supposed to come with a statement of incompleteness. Now that is why when you watch over, when we were debating, the leader of opposition asked him to present the statement of incompleteness. Then afterward, when everything is put now in the budget, if you realize that the budget is fully complete, everything is intact, everything is budgeted for, now it will issue a statement of completeness. That said, I want to really begin by stating that our country does not have what we call a fiscal space. If we had a fiscal space, we would know where to budget more and why we should budget more on that particular area. There are certain areas that deserve more budgeting because they help the economy to grow. For example, agriculture. According to Mafuta Mingi Declaration, every African nation was supposed to dedicate about 14% of the total budget, 15% of the total budget into agriculture. But here come in Uganda, we give less than 6%, 3.5%. That's what we give. Total negligence of fiscal space. And yet we are well aware that it is through agriculture that when we can actually bolster the lifestyle, the life standard of all the citizens of this country to a fair standard from the subsistence to the money economy. Secondly, there are sections like health. We are depending too much on the outside world. Medicines. He who controls medicines controls your life. And we are being controlled as Uganda. We would have spared some fiscal space on those kind of sectors. And right now it's coming on food. The GMO is coming. And if we allow GMO in the country, definitely they will control our medicine, they'll control our food, and yet the food we are going to begin producing will be cheap, but will make our health very expensive because of the consequences that come with what we are going to eat. Now look at education. We are supposed to invest in education. If you want to destroy a nation, deny education, good education system. Like you have been stating, there are certain sections that actually are not performing. They don't deserve, actually need to be penalized. They don't deserve to be given such kind of budget. There are certain sections. It was laughable 6 months ago when the issues of increment for the scientists came on board. Now, it was put in the budget before even knowing where the money is coming from. At the time of payment, there was no money to pay them. And yet they were being made aware that their money has been 100% increase. And the money is not there. So, until when we realize that there is need to secure a particular fiscal space to ensure that certain sections deserve more to be prioritized than others, we will not actually meet the demand. You will look at, when you look at, you talked about the interns. They're striking, industrial actions. It's coming, one after the other. This one is coming simply because we don't do proper planning. We know where the challenges are, but again, we plan within the periphery. Like we talked about the supplementary budget. There are certain things we ought to have put in the budget from the onset, but we ignore them. We put the one which are not necessary. Then we come on the one which is very important and a supplementary. So those are the challenges that we have in this country. We don't prioritize well to keep our economy at check, to keep our economy progressing. Otherwise, there is a big challenge with this budget.
Your thoughts on what is in the budget for the Ugandan, the citizen, the doctor, the student, and anyone listening to you right now?
A farmer, there is 1.7 trillion that has been allocated to the agriculture budget. And I think you relate with the NARO that is going to get around 155 billion Ugandan shillings. NARO is in charge of doing research. So we want to have better varieties, disease-resistant, drought-resistant varieties. So we have 155 billion that has been allocated to it. To sports funds, the National Council of Sports, they have 48.4 trillion. But I was wondering what they're going to do with that money, because if I look at the number of federations under the National Sports Council, probably one will go with 1 million per year. So I would really want to have seen more investment probably in that particular area, because sports brings the nation together, but also you tap on foreign direct investment.
We should talk about sports. Sorry, we were denied the chance to host the CAF or the CAF due to lack of stadiums.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can see the potential it has. Just one match like this, you can imagine how many chicken, eggs, chapatis,
Rolex
will be sold at that particular place. To the health sector, to an ordinary person who goes in a government hospital, the national medical stores, the government has allocated 587 billion. It is still not enough. I wanted to see much more than that. The Cancer Institute has been allocated 101 billion Ugandan shillings. Again, we wanted to see more than that, but that's what the government has been able to put. The Heart Institute, we are seeing government put in around 67 billion Ugandan shillings. So, I mean, we also have our PDM. People should really organize themselves and see how they can be able to benefit from PDM. 1 trillion. We have a Myoga still out there also. It has money for it. People should be able to look at themselves. For road users, and I'm interested, of course, in the local government, the district, urban, and the community access road, we have seen 348 billion Ugandan shillings has been allocated for that to improve our road networks in the villages. The Uganda Road Fund, 401 billion Ugandan shillings. So a number of those budget lines really help us to revamp.
About KCCA, there was an issue with the roads in Kampala. Honorable, you're from Kitgum, but I'm sure you haven't actually experienced a pothole when you're on your way here from Kitgum. But the moment you get into Kampala, you start seeing all these roads that are buffeted with potholes. So is there anything for the Kampala roads in particular?
No, I mean, for KCCA, because they will get the money from DACA, they will get the money from the road fund also. Their company is under that. But KCCA has got a special project from World Bank for dealing this particular road. And I remember there was a discussion around the cost of repairing these particular roads. That is one element that we need to address. How much does this cost us to repair a kilometer of a road? How much does it cost us to build a kilometer of a road? And but of course, KCCA has got its own budget allocations, and KCCA is a special district. You know, you find that KCCA really is the heart of our GDP. I mean, really, it generates so much of what we get, and you expect really to put in more money. So when you see really roads in the industrial area, an area that really is for industrial activity, and is the one with the biggest number of potholes, then you wonder where the priorities of KCCA are in terms of ensuring that actually if you take a truck to industrial area, it can come out without going to the garage. But there's something I just wanted to finish with. It's around rationalization. We have not talked about that. Rationalization. I can see now we have delayed rationalization simply because there are so many fights about it. People are beginning to protect their agencies. And that's what we are trying to fight. That people feel that an agency is a small government on its own. It is my thing. It has become personal. And yet, I have been given an example. You can't have a public service commission to employ civil servants, education service commission to employ civil servants, health service commission to employ civil servant, judicial service commission to employ civil servant. You have 4 service commissions doing the same thing. And yet, one service commission would have done all that and employ everybody. So you need to remove duplication. And duplication also reduces, increases our cost of running business in this country. So you really need to pursue rationalization and reduce the duplication of these agencies. Yes, some agencies are very important. We can look at it again to see whether they should be able to emerge it. But really, we must wrap up the rationalization process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukundane. Your parting shots, Honorable Dennis, as we wind up, a message to the people of Kitgum and, of course, to the citizens of Uganda watching this show right now.
My brother Anthony,
yes,
I was actually over imagining what is happening at KCCA. When my brother talked about the road, every now and then when I drive along the road of Kampala, I feel the pain. I'm wondering whether there is the people of Kampala is suffering a political execution or what. Because you could not imagine the amount of money that KCCA used to collect and how they used to work on their roads and how their budget has been submerged to the central account. They used to run their own affairs. You know, Kampala is a capital city and Kampala is the image of Uganda. And anybody who comes to Uganda define Uganda by the look of Kampala. And when you look at Kampala currently, it is shameful, to be honest. I sit on Public Accounts Committee Central. We were discussing, actually we're arguing, that where will KCCA belong? Will KCCA belong under Public Accounts Committee Central when we're asking for them to account, or will they belong to the Public Account Committee local government? Because the system at KCCA has been actually mixed up. Minister for Kampala, there is executive secretary, there is Lord Mayor, the political wing, who is almost being made a ceremony. Yeah. And yet he deserves to have some power. So there's a very big discussion and debate going on. And as members of Presidential Affairs Committee, we have a meeting to look at the differences between the Minister for Kampala and the Lord Mayor office and the entire system. That kind of mess is causing the entire country bad image of what we are seeing now. It's very unfortunate. However, lastly, I want to actually tell everybody actually viewing us, that we should not lose hope. Uganda is our country. We will not run away to any other country. The best we can do is to thumb down, put our feet on the ground, and agree that we must work towards the better progress. Like the Betty Kamea stated, those other people will not die in the government hospital here. They will be flown away. So it is we to begin suffering, to begin. We who are suffering now,
Yes.
the one to begin to struggle. We should struggle to ensure that there are changes in our system, the governance system, and everything. Otherwise, I'm grateful, my brother Anthony, for the good command of the show.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukundani, for the time and for the insights. And of course, we are not able to get back to most of the comments here, but I've seen Regan Howard on our social media. I think he was asking about how does the budget process really work. And I think we explained that, and where the citizen in the next budget can actually forward their, I don't know if we can just answer that briefly. Where can the citizen in the next budget forward their thoughts? I think that's what I meant here, into the budget for the following year. Maybe Mr. Mukundani, you can help us.
There is a budget website in Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
Just go on Google and say Uganda budget. It will definitely come out, and it will tell you where the budget is, to give you documents, but also there's a dedicated number for you to call. And please call that number. They will be able to answer you that question.
Wow, thank you so much. There you have it. And of course, we've had a wonderful show since the beginning. Thank you for my producers in the studio, Mr. Dikan, and the people on the cameras. Thank you so much. Smart 24 TV continues to give you business. And of course, up next is Business Today. And that is, of course, the news in the business world. My name is Anthony, and this is The Point. See you next time, same place. Bye for now.